No one's in here yet. Do you, oh, all right, never mind.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just thought you might want to see if there's another light to turn on. But it doesn't matter. You look very
That's all the light.
Charming. And so you got your camera fixed.
I got my computer fixed and the camera light is on my phone. It's all a bit jerry-rigged.
Oh, you don't have your computer is still a little wonky?
No, it's fine. It's just it wasn't working properly earlier when I used Zoom on a different call. But I seem to have it kind of figured out now, but I have my phone ready to go just in case. But yeah, the light in my apartment isn't, it's nice when I want to go to sleep, but it's not great when I need to be shown on Zoom, you know?
We're all ready to go, guys.
Okay, thank you. Hi, welcome to the third in our series of programs on reopening businesses in our community. I'm Alita Camp, chair of CB8. Community Board 8, along with Carnegie Home Neighbors, Community Board 6, the East 86th Street Association, East Midtown Partnership, East 60s Neighborhood Association, East 79th Street Neighborhood Association, and the Madison Avenue Business Improvement District have developed these programs to help the small businesses reopen successfully. This evening, the speakers will talk about how the community can help retail and restaurants. They'll answer questions about the steps you can take to keep our businesses in business. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have by writing them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We'll try to answer all of your questions. You may see occasionally Matt Bauer of the Madison Avenue Business Improvement District and Rob Burns of the East Midtown Partnership. They're also available in case you have any questions. I'm excited to introduce our moderator, Jessica Walker, President and CEO of the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, an organization that represents and supports businesses throughout the borough. For those of you who have seen either or both of our previous two programs, you may recognize Jessica. They're also available on YouTube. Jessica is a public policy expert and has spent her distinguished career in public service. She is included on City and State's Manhattan 2019 100 Power List and their 2019 Power of Diversity Black 100 list. She has advocated tirelessly for the senior as well as the business community and has received numerous awards and distinctions for her work. I'd like to add, though, that among her many outstanding achievements, Jessica is an excellent listener, which is both valuable and all too rare. Welcome, Jessica. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Alita. Really a pleasure. And thank you so much. I mean, the leadership of this community board, I think, in having these important conversations is just really, really terrific right now. Listen, I'm really excited about tonight's conversation because we're going to actually be able to hear directly from small business owners about what they're going through, what they're seeing, and of course, most importantly, how all of us can be very helpful to them and what they're trying to do. So I think let's get it started. We have three fantastic speakers. I'm going to hand it over to them, but I just want to remind everybody out there that you can ask questions. So there is a Q&A if you look at the bottom of your screen. If you have questions, please enter them there and we will do our best to try to get all of those answered. So let's get started. Our first speaker is Michael Melfany. Did I get that right, Michael? I tried.
Melamphy, don't worry, you're not the first.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. So he is the former chair, many of you will know him, the former chair of CB8, the Small Business Committee. And he's also the former owner and operator of Ryan's Daughter Pub. So would love to hear your thoughts on everything that's happening, where we are, where we're heading, and again, how people can be helpful.
Well, thanks so much, Jessica. First off, I'd just like to take a quick 30 seconds to thank you, Jessica, for moderating all of these sessions, which have been so invaluable. I'd also like to thank Vaughn and Julianne for taking their time out of their busy day today to speak about their experiences and also their hopes about moving forward. Also, I have to say a huge thank you to Community Board 8 Manhattan, Will Brightbill, who is the man behind the curtain and makes sure all these meetings run as smooth as silk every single day, Sarah Chu and Valerie Mason, who have recently taken up the mantle of running the Small Business Committee, which is no small feat at the best of times, and certainly not at the moment, considering our current situation. Alita Camp, who is a wonderful, engaged, positive chair, as well as all of my former colleagues on the board. Your support, energy, and collaboration, in particular of tonight's presentation, is both inspiring and gives me so much hope that we can really make a difference in helping our local small businesses survive and thrive. Teresa Wu, who was our graphic designer on this project, deserves so much praise and thanks for bringing what was a couple of simple ideas really to life in a very short space of time. And I must also thank everyone on the reopening task force, the East Midtown Partnership, Madison Avenue Bid, Carnegie Hill Neighbourhood Association, the East 60s Neighbourhood Association, CB6 of Manhattan, who've been working with us on this project, the 86th Street Association, and all who have given so much time these last couple of months. Our meetings have been filled with so many great ideas, but personally, they've also become something that I look forward to as a means to try to make sense of all that's occurred these last couple of months with this pandemic. So a lot of the talk surrounding reopening local businesses has been quite rightly focused on much of the material, the legislative and legal needs of our local businesses. Of course, it is so important that our local owners have the right guidance and the tools to effectively reopen, or for some, continue to do business in this age of COVID-19. We need our businesses to make sure that they're deep cleaning. We need our businesses to ensure that staff are healthy. We need our businesses to have the right legal advice on navigating what really is a no man's land that we have never experienced in the past. In our discussions on these programs, I kept focusing on my own former business, which was an Irish pub, Ryan's Daughter. One thing I kept thinking of was my customers, not necessarily how I'd get them to come back if I was in that position. We sold booze after all, so it wasn't going to be too much of a problem to get them to come back. But I kept thinking how customers at my bar engage in sort of an unspoken contract when they come in. There are ways of behaving that are acceptable, and certainly after a few drinks, sometimes there are ways of behaving that are not acceptable. And this unspoken contract, as what I call it, dictates whether a customer will be welcomed back in the future or asked to leave the premises. This behavior in this unspoken contract affects how smoothly a business can be run. It's an accepted part of doing business in the bar service industry. The other thing that my mind drifted to at the mention of COVID-19 was the collective response of New Yorkers to this pandemic. Flatten the curve became the early mantra. By flattening the curve, we were engaging in a community-based response to allow our healthcare workers the time and space to deal with what was exponentially a growing crisis. Flattening the curve also meant that we were allowing other essential workers the time and space to do their essential work, whether it was maintaining and operating the public transport, cleaning our sidewalks, or stocking our shelves of toilet paper and all the other essential needs. Of course, there are and there will continue to be massive challenges and changes to our lives with COVID. But the simple things like working from home if you could, wearing face coverings in public, hand washing and sanitizing on a regular basis all meant that we collectively were able to flatten the curve. Not only did these simple measures aid our healthcare workers, it also gave me personally, and I'm sure many other people, a sense of agency, ownership, responsibility, and above all, control in such an unsettling situation, which is very often not the case in times of disaster and uncertainty. So it's with the spirit of this collective effort that we began to think about what locals can do to be part of the restart. The burden of reopening with its costs, both economically and emotionally, is falling on our local business owners. For many, sadly, it's already too late, as you can see by taking a walk around the neighborhood. By focusing on that unspoken contract that I spoke about earlier and the spirit that flattened the curve, we identified a number of guidelines that people can take or leave, but bear in mind, by adhering to these simple guidelines, you will be making it easier for your local cafes, bookshops, bodegas, grocery stores, apparel stores, and even Irish pubs to navigate the uncertain days, weeks, and months ahead. So Will, if you wouldn't mind, if you'd be so kind as to share the poster, and I'll speak about each of the guidelines briefly. So here is our poster that we have designed and worked on together. It's be part of the restart, which is in the spirit of flattening the curve. It's important, I think, for people to have a message that they can kind of get behind. And as you look through it, it's quite simple. It's a number of guidelines. The first three, which are really, what we've been doing anyway the last few months, people are used to this. Always wear a mask or a face covering when you go into a store or any place of business. Not only are you protecting the workers there and you're helping to prevent the spread, it's also the law now in New York. So, it's something that you can do to comply with the law. We need to continue social distancing. That means try to keep 6 feet apart. Many of our businesses have placed decals on the floors of their business and outside to illustrate this for people. And sanitize. Most businesses that I've gone near in the last couple of days all have sanitizer. So that's something that you can do. Something else that's quite simple. If you feel sick, if you feel ill, just stay home. Don't chance it. I know as New Yorkers, we feel like we're invincible sometimes and that we must accomplish everything in the day, no matter what. But at the moment, it's a good lesson to just stay in if you feel at all ill. And also remember that a lot of our local businesses are available online. You can shop online from a lot of local businesses. And a message I think you're going to hear more later on is when you invest in a local business, you're investing in your block, you're investing in your neighborhood. It's really important. So if you are doing any online shopping and you can't leave the house, you can go online. Another important thing to point out is, with the proliferation of a lot of apps, sometimes they're not the very best for a lot of our small local restaurants and restaurants that provide delivery and takeout. So we'd encourage people that when available, call up your local restaurant, have a chat, call up instead of using an app, see if you can get them to deliver. That certainly helps with a lot of our restaurants' bottom lines. Something else that you can do, which we're already used to doing for quite a lot of other businesses, is to make a reservation. Once our salons and barbershops, restaurants reopen, a lot of boutiques, beauty stores, doctors and dentists, they take reservations. So this is a way that you can help businesses space out their clients. So we're not, having too many people in stores at the one time or having too many people congregate outside on the sidewalk. Another thing which I've had a hard time doing all my life is plan ahead. Give yourself an extra bit of time. An extra 15 minutes can make so much of a difference to your experience if you give yourself that bit more time to actually plan when you're going out to do your bit of shopping or any little business that you're doing. And that brings us to, the final three little guidelines that we'd like people to be mindful of is to practice patience. Remember that the landscape for businesses and workers has changed drastically, like the rest of us. Help our local businesses and the workers who work there, help them help you. Ask the staff to handle merchandise so they don't need to unnecessarily quarantine or have to disinfect or sanitize goods. Also, it's a simple thing, like when you're in a shop, try not to be picking up things and putting them back down. And the final one, which, I do think this is again in the spirit of what this is all about, just be kind and try to be flexible. I know tempers fray very easily. We've heard lots of stories of, people getting anxious and getting into panic attacks in stores over the last couple of months because of what's going on. But, our businesses and other customers will appreciate it. A little bit of kindness and flexibility goes a long way when you can't see somebody's face and you can't see their lovely smile. So making that little extra bit of effort to be mindful of this can really ensure that we can all collectively help restart New York City together. Will, if you wouldn't mind just taking down the poster for now, if that's okay. So that's pretty much it from me. We'll be sharing this document with our local business owners and partners. We'll be sharing it online and also on social media. My personal hope is that the owners will print a copy and display it in their premises and perhaps share it on their websites to better inform customers. COVID-19 is here and sadly, it appears to be growing in many other parts of the country. And also we had some, not so good news today. It's growing all over the world, but our experience here in New York in the last 3 months has proved that we can slow the spread and potentially manage it. I believe by adopting the same responsible approach to how we conduct ourselves while shopping, eating out, and going about our everyday business, it will also give us a better sense of control over this panic, and at the same time give our local business owners a chance to reopen, grow, survive, and thrive. I'd just like to thank you all so much for taking the time out to come by and listen to what we have to say here this evening. And I'll hand it back over now to our moderator, Jessica.
Well done, Michael. Thank you so much. What a terrific guide. We certainly at the Chamber are going to push that out. I think that's really, really terrific. I'm going to stop here for a second and hand it back to Alida. We have some very distinguished guests here today. We can't hear you, Alida.
Sorry, I was muted and forgot. I was on my phone. Thank you for reminding me. I want to say thank you for your support and welcome to our elected officials, Borough President Gal Brewer and one of our state assembly members, Rebecca Seawright. You provide enormous support for the community board and for all of our neighbors, our businesses, our residents, and I can't thank you enough. I'm so excited that you're here to share this evening and see how you too, as a member of the community, can support all of our local businesses, restaurants, and retail. Thank you. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. I want to let all the attendees know that if you look in the chat, you can download a copy of the guidelines that that Michael spoke about just a moment ago. So that is available in the chat area. All right, so let's move along. We're going to hear now from Vaughn Cahill, who is the co-owner of Lane Farms Market. Vaughn, are you?
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can, yeah, loud and clear.
Thank you. Please take it away.
Okay, hi, I'm Vaughn from Lane Farms Market, a little real mom and pop store located on 96th Street and Madison Avenue. When I say real mom and pop store, it really is a real mom and pop store. We've been there since 1977. My grandfather had it, and then I don't know how I ended up with it, but I'm there. We service a small community. We provide fresh vegetables, meats, butcher, all the old-fashioned stuff that people from the neighborhood were used to having. It's been tough during these times because we've had to try to do many different things to keep our customers. So what we've done during these times is we've added email orders where you can email us your order. So this way you're not coming into the store. For the elderlies, they call over the phone and we take their phone orders over that. They feel more comfortable speaking to someone. We provide free delivery. We even provide where at one time our delivery guys are so close to the customers that they would even put stuff on their shelves for them. I guess what we've been having a hard time with lately is that it was hard getting workers to come into work because, they were afraid to take subways and things like that. The other problem we've had is that in this area, a lot of our customers look like they've left during the pandemic I guess March 23rd, things all changed. So the people that have stayed are really the people that didn't have a place to go to. We serve also part of Harlem. Customers on 99th Street, 102nd Street, and it's been very difficult for them. So what we do for them is like, they'll call over the phone and we'll send it to them. We've even added faxing. Believe it or not, people are still faxing their orders. We had one point where we had to close the store for about 2 weeks. When I mean close, I meant close the doors publicly. We would only take phone orders and fax orders or emails. Because a lot of customers were worried. I remember the questions they would ask, everybody okay? Is anyone sick? Does any customers come into the store that are sick? I would try to comfort them and tell them, listen, as far as the employees are, thank God, thank you God, no one's sick. All of us would wear protective stuff, masks, gloves. we were sanitizing our hands like it was crazy and washing our hands. Um, Somehow, some way, I was able to get a hold of Lysol spray. So we would Lysol everything all the time. In fact, we were saying, I don't think we're going to die from the corona. We may die from from Lysol. Um, we also kept a lot of the Lysol spray for the elderlies who would order the stuff. And what we did all the time was always sanitize and try to make the customers feel comfortable. Now what we do, when we did open the doors, we have posters that say must wear mask. At times we do get harassed, but we try to be patient and sometimes use psychology and explain to them it's not for just them, it's for the employees, and you don't want the employees getting near you and things like that. So most people have accepted it. Some people haven't, and those that haven't, I guess they leave and they call over the phone, or I'm not sure what they do, but um, and that's pretty much. I don't know. The other things we have done for them, some people have asked us to have the food ready and they would meet us at the door. That was something else too, where they would call and we would just have their stuff ready. And that's what we've been doing. And now we put gloves. What we were worried about was some people, customers were concerned, well, oh, who touched the apples? For example, because other stuff we were able to wrap, but apples and pears and peaches now and plums, can't wrap that stuff. So what we did was we put a box of glove near there. I've ordered a whole bunch of sanitizers now that I can get it. So if you get by the door, the cashier will squeeze some in you, or you can use some of it. So these are the new things we've put in to try to implement as far as safety issues. As far as the workers, they constantly are washing themselves. They're constantly worried about it. In fact, even the delivery guys, they'll take the delivery up to the door. They won't go in anymore. We've asked customers to understand that it's in undoorman buildings where they would want the delivery guy to go inside. We asked them to please be understanding that he'll take it to your door, but we can't go inside. We've even had where the hospital has placed an order. And that's where we did have a hard time because some of the delivery guys were worried about going into the emergency room. So what we would do, we would react someone from the staff if they could meet us by the door, the entrance door, and we would give them their sandwiches or food that was ordered. Believe me when I tell you, we're very anal about things like that because we're very worried about someone getting sick. The cashier, for example, has a son that suffers from asthma, so she's super protective. The guys in the store, the delivery guys are worried. So I guess that has made them more aware that, oh, let me wash my hands. Let me make sure I'm clean. And that's what we've been doing lately to make sure there's no one's getting sick or no misfortunes that happen. As far as customers that come into the store and say, I don't want to wear a mask and things like that, we politely tell them that they can't come in. Sometimes they say, oh, masks don't help. We've had a lot of medical students that have come in and given us literature explaining how masks really don't help and you're not doing anything with the mask. And we've just told them, listen, this is the way we're going to operate. And that's the way we kept it. And we just follow the rules. Also, make sure that we only have one cashier and one customer come to the register. We let everyone wait, about 6 feet away, and then we take the next person. We've had complaints that, oh, it's moving too slow, and we're trying to explain to them there's nothing else we really can do at this time. But if you like, you can call over the phone or you can email us your order, and it'll be the process will be much faster or less waiting. And I guess that's it. That's what I have to tell you about what's going on at Lane Farms, and that's how we have been going about doing what we needed to do for the community. I think the hardest thing for us as a retail, and I hope that everything does go well by September. I hope so, because when school is open, business is good. When school is closed, business is below average. A lot of our customers have second homes. So a lot of them have escaped for many different reasons, to be closer to the other families, or they needed someone who could help with caretaking. A lot of our customers that have children or younger kids don't want them just staying in the city because there isn't much for them to do. So that's been hard for us. Paying the rent has been hard for us. A lot of things have been hard, but thank God we're coping with it and we're doing the best we can to serve the community. There are times I come in and I go, I wonder why I do this. But you know something, it's beautiful when Mrs. Butterworth says thank you and says, you know, I don't know what I would do if you guys weren't there. I'm trying not to get emotional, but so it breaks my heart. So I feel like, oh God, if I wasn't there, what would happen to someone like Mrs. Butterworth or others that need us? And you should see the letters we get and the thank you cards. And sometimes people even donate money, say, please, you know, give this to the delivery guy or give this to the cashier, you know, and I'm very grateful for that. At first I said, oh, wow, nobody really cares. But, you know, some people really do care. And people have made us feel like we're important and we're necessary. I always used to think, everybody cares for the big franchises. And it's funny, the big franchises are the ones who have let them down. They were explaining to me how they used to use Fresh Direct, and Fresh Direct wasn't there for them, and we were. And I says, oh, I thank you, and I appreciate it. And thank God we're there for them, and I hope to be there for them until death do us apart. Anyway, thank you for asking me to join here. I'm not the most eloquent person, but I appreciate it. I'm a humble person, and I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Vaughn. Listen, I want to speak for everybody. I think everybody was really moved, and everybody is really thankful for all that you're doing. We know this is a very tough time for everybody, but that's just really amazing. I have a ton of questions for you. We're going to get to our last speaker, but I have a ton of questions. But the one observation I would make is that you're just taking so many precautions and going out of your way to really try to, have best practices going. And I think that instills a lot of confidence for consumers. And I think that that's really helpful to the economy in so many ways. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. We even tell everybody at the guys at the start. I always tell them when you get home, make sure you take off your clothes at the and and wash, because you don't know what you may be carrying to your home.
Sure.
I always tell everybody, be careful who you do invite, who you hang out with, who you do, because if you get sick, we all get sick. And when we get sick, the customer gets sick. So these guys have got a clear understanding. All the workers there, if you speak to them, you'll say, got a very clear understanding. They are very worried. Fear is a big factor there. No one wants to get sick. People have seen what's going on. We know people we have lost. We have doormen we have lost that used to come to our store. So this is a for real thing. Some people think it's a joke. No, it's for real. And especially when you know someone that has passed away from this, makes you think and you go, oh, this is for real. And these were guys we were just talking to a couple of days ago. So yeah, it's important. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, hang on, Vaughn. We're going to get back to you. Let's go to our final speaker, Julianne Jaffe. Is she here?
I'm here.
Oh, terrific, terrific. She's the owner of JJ Marco Jewelry. Please tell us about the business, and we'd love to hear what's happening with you and how consumers can be helpful as you start to reopen.
Okay, well, my name is Julianne Jaffe, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so pleased to represent Madison Avenue. I'm also on the board of the Madison Avenue bid. So just to tell you a little bit about my shop and then my experience. So I have a store on Madison Avenue between 80th and 81st Street. I've been there for 15 years. It's interesting, Nirvan also is a small independent, but there are not that many of us on the avenue anymore. So I'm incredibly proud of that. And not that my comrades, I've gotten to know them actually more somewhat through COVID, because we have virtual meetings all the time. And it is an incredible community of stores, managers, as well as some other owners too. So I'm a woman-owned business as well. I had started the business with my husband, but I did lose him. Not to COVID, but so I'm a woman-owned business. So, the experience, actually, I just want to go back just a little bit, because I buy a lot internationally to offer my customers beautiful goods from around the world. So we're a small but very edited, curated jewelry shop. And what was happening was I was no longer able to get merchandise from Italy, from China. Factories were closing. And I think I didn't really see that it was coming soon to a theater near me. I was like, what? Like, they're closed and they're not opening? And I don't know if I could have prepared any differently. I'm not sure. But I think I was still, even though I was hearing these things, I was still very taken by surprise when we were closed. Having said that, I did make the health first. That's the first and foremost. Even though commerce is so important, health is above and beyond all else. So closing obviously was the only way to try and get this under control. So we sent out notes to all our customers. We do have a social media presence. We have a web presence, but we really don't do business on the web, but we do. Our customers love our emails, and they all immediately wrote notes and continue to write notes throughout the pandemic to us. So we definitely have a wonderful customer base, but we are on the avenue and pay rents for the avenue because the museums are nearby to bring in tourists. And New York is a tourist town, and we're always looking for new customers as well. So while we were able to do some business while we were closed, for the most part, it really has been a shutdown. So it's a frightening time for big businesses and small businesses. So first, of course, health first. It's a frightening time for that. And then, how it will present. But strangely, I feel incredibly optimistic because there's no place like New York, and people want to be here. It's true, my customers have, for the most part, a lot of them have moved out of the city. Like my colleague before just said, of course we've been shipping, of course we deliver. I had coffee because we were allowed to have coffee with someone in Sag Harbor last week, and delivered earrings. So an essential item, as you might guess, during COVID. So, but I do feel incredibly optimistic. I feel like people will always want to be in New York. I feel like tourists will come back to New York. I just think it's going to be a slow process. So much of it is going to be dependent on how landlords can absorb, and I know it's hard for them as well, but how we're able to work out deals, and that's still big question marks. But I believe that customers will come back. I think there's nothing like Madison Avenue in the world. It is like no other street. And as I said, it's interesting because I would have to pop into my store to take care of things. And as people would take masked and gloves and everything, their walks, they always looked for me and would wave. And then when I was able to put things out last week, like everyone was like giving the thumbs up. I mean, it was just so heartwarming and sweet. And I know that customers that did order during this time, they could buy anywhere because things get delivered all over. But it was really a matter of heart and love. Yes, it's true. I have cultivated a following, no doubt. But I do feel that it is a matter of heart. Jewelry is very tactile. So people do want to try on and see it. So we have made, of course, we have lots of cleaners, lots of jewelry cleaners. We have masks if anyone doesn't have them. Our store is very small, and we are actually kind of a what you would consider a low traffic store. So in terms of safety, it's easy. I still am doing limited hours, but I'm telling customers I'll be glad to stay late if that's what you need. People are working in all sorts of unusual ways, some home, some starting to go into offices. So I'm definitely accommodating all of that. So having said that, I mean, yeah, we've been closed for 4 months, and I just believe that we will weather the storm together. You know, everybody is not in the same situation. I realize some people are still working. My son and his fiance are still working. I was not able to. And then there are people that, you know, have to be on a bread line. So not everybody is in the exact same situation. I just think we have to have compassion for all different levels of, you know, how we are. So having said that, I'm thrilled to be here to represent Madison Avenue. I know all my colleagues are starting to open now, some a little bit slowly, but I believe after the July 4th, we will be back. I've gotten in lots of goodies because Italy has opened. Many places have opened. And so we've gotten some beautiful, fresh merchandise. It's amazing what you can order, you know, on Zoom from people. So we pass it around the world, the goodwill of our community. So thank you for having me.
Terrific. I love your optimism. The New York optimism is there, and I think it's infectious. So thank you. So we have, we're going to start the questions, and I want Michael and Vaughn to be able to weigh in too. But I'll start with you, Julianne, and maybe Vaughn can weigh in as well. I'm really interested in the marketing aspect and how that's changed. And you touched upon that quite a bit because it sounds like you're doing some really new and innovative things. But I guess one, has your marketing changed just generally? Also, have you are you marketing the practices? Like Vaughn talked about quite, you know, all the things he's doing to really showcase that he's taking all these extra precautions to put his customers at ease, which you could market that as well, because I think it does, you know, make certain businesses stand out. But anything about your marketing and how that might have changed throughout this crisis?
Wah, wah, wah. I mean, I don't like to talk about that. I mean, I think that I certainly understand why people do talk about that, but I'm a show, don't tell. So when people come in, I am masked. I'm offering, you know, right away to clean. I'm cleaning the jewels. So I'm a show, don't tell kind of gal. So I wouldn't say that I feel the need to market that. I mean, jewelry is a different item. It is such a feel-good item. So I don't feel like I need to talk about that side of things. So in terms of marketing, I will say we did slow down our marketing during the pandemic. We did not inundate people with buy this now, buy this now. It was really much more of we are thinking of you and your families, and of course we're here for you. If there's a birthday, an anniversary, you just want to treat yourself, you know, I've sent lots of photos and done things that way. But really, I think in terms of marketing, it has really been much more of the heart. Having said that, that will go back because now that people will be coming in and buying, yes, we want them to see the latest. But no, I think again, I don't really need to talk about that. I believe that they trust that I'm going to take care of them. Our store is small. So again, safety first, health first, always.
Vaughn, what about you?
Well, like she said, it's a jewelry store, so it's a little different. I'm selling something that they're going to put, they're going to digest and eat. So I have to market that. It's not something I want to market, but I do because, like I said, you should see some of the questions when they come in. Is everybody okay? Listen, I haven't seen Timmy. Is he here today? So I know that that's like, okay, is someone sick? Thank God no one has been. So I have to market that. I have to protect the stuff that are touched. Sometimes people like to touch vegetables and people like to touch this, and it's so I have to. I always tell people that we're always cleaning. People see that we always are. Um, People come into the store and they always go, "Oh, wow, this is a clean store." And I says, "Yeah, we try our best." At night, we sanitize even the baskets, and even in the middle of the day, we sanitize the baskets and the carts because we've also noticed people don't even want to use the baskets or the carts. They are carrying it with their arms, or they leave it on the counter. The counter is always sprayed. The registers are always sprayed. I'm in a spot where I do have to show that things are clean. What have we been doing to market the store? That's been difficult right now. We have a little sign outside. We have things that tell people, "Oh, we're here." Word of mouth. Doormen say that, "Oh, Lane Farms is open." In fact, the people that do know me, they pass the words around. We have sign on the door that says these are our new hours. Um, these are the things we have been doing to try to market. I haven't been doing anything through advertisement or anything like that. Not right now. But these are the things we've been doing to market our store. And yeah, I understand it. You want to make the customer feel comfortable. People don't want to talk about this subject. But at the same time, you have to make them know that you have to let them know that things are clean. That I've asked sometimes customers, please use gloves. Because they start touching the apple to see if it's firm. Now it's summertime, so peaches and plums. So and we've asked, please use gloves if you're going to. So we provide gloves near those. The other stuff we've wrapped. Celery is wrapped. Broccoli is wrapped. The zucchinis, believe it or not, we've had to wrap it. Things like that. The meats are all wrapped, and the other stuff are the non-perishable things we don't have to worry about. But yeah, we stress clean, that the store is clean.
That's great. I want to ask about masks. So number one, has it been difficult for you to find masks? Because I know that has been sort of tough for some people. And I just want to sort of say that I know that the assembly member Seawright is doing a mask giveaway. So you might want to look into that if you're having trouble. So first of all, is it difficult to get the masks? And then two, has it been difficult to make sure that customers wear them? It sounds like some stores are getting into, arguments with potential customers who don't want to wear them.
Yeah, I don't get into an argument. It's been stressful because it's me and the cashiers that are policing, because the cashier is the first person that sees a customer come through. It's difficult because it's now this stress of policing besides just doing business. Masks were hard to come by. I had friends at Mount Sinai, and they were able to get me boxes of masks and stuff like that. Now it's not as difficult to get masks. And we've had customers that make masks and they've donated it to the girls and stuff like that. Like I've got this mask, but this one I purchased, but there's a lot of masks with funny faces on it and things like that. So it hasn't become a problem. At one time, gloves were becoming on low supply. That was hard. But now it's more freely. So it's easier to get that now. And sanitizer was impossible, but now it's easier to get. But yes, masks aren't a problem right now. But if they are, yes, I would probably look out for this gentleman to see if I can get some masks. And as far as customers, yeah, we've even given customers a mask if they don't have one. And they still have refused and then they don't want it. And then we just say kindly that then you can't shop in here. And you know, and they leave quietly, some don't. Some give me the middle finger, some give us other gestures. And you know what? I may lose that $1 or $2, but who knows? That person might have been the one that would have caused everybody to get sick. So, you know, in the end, you will lose more. So, you know, if they don't want to wear a mask, then it's too bad. And there's nothing else I can do, you know? And I've explained to them that it's the law. And like I've told you, I've had a problem with the students. The medical students are the tough ones. They're the ones telling us, oh, you know, this mask doesn't protect. And I'm saying, well, as for now, this is the law at Lane Farms. You must wear a mask. You want to buy, wear a mask. And that's what we've been practicing. But I mean, we've told them kindly, it's not, you know, but the ones who give us the middle fingers, we just ignore and let them go.
Michael or Julianne, do you wanna weigh in on the mask issue at all?
I'll defer to Julianne because she's kind of dealing with customers on a one-on-one basis.
So it hasn't been hard to find masks. Yeah, I think maybe in the very beginning, but we were closed then, so it really didn't matter. And we were becoming aware of who was making them, but now it's not at all hard. I've only had 2 customers who were a little bit, didn't want to wear them, but for the most part, actually, I think customers really want to wear masks. And actually, as I was setting up the store recently, last week when we were allowed to open, I think if people look in and like I didn't have my mask on, I don't think they want to come in. So I'm much more self-conscious, and I'd rather, you know, like, I don't necessarily want to wear one, you know, for, you know, all the hours I'm there if someone's not there. But I think it's a deterrent. I think New Yorkers want to wear their masks. So I don my mask. I like the ones you can breathe out easier, but I think the black ones are more attractive. So I'm trying to get used to that because it matches usually what I'm wearing. But I mean, there are so many adorable masks. My customers have had some really, really cute ones. So just wear your mask. I mean, it's not even a conversation. It's just the way it is. So yeah.
Yeah. So I want to sort of ask you, what can consumers do to just be helpful in this moment? I think there are new rules that are being created. I've talked to a lot of restaurants about, you know, when you do outdoor dining, that the etiquette now is you keep the mask on when you order, and you know, you take it off when you're eating or drinking, obviously, but when you order, you're supposed to keep it on. There's no law for that, but I just didn't know if there's anything that you might want to just sort of say, hey, when you come into the store, these are certain things that you might want to think about that would just be helpful for everyone.
I think one thing that's kind of important in this regard is to just remind people, you know, if we can remind people with signage, which is the reason we kind of came up with that little poster, and also just communicate to people what's required, because I think, you know, over the last 3 months, a lot of people have been going stir crazy. And of course, like, people want to get back out eating, going to their favorite restaurants and cafes and bars. That people want to have a sense that life is somehow returning to normal. And I think, you know, by, you know, subtly reminding people that they have a little responsibility and to just put your mask on and just be mindful. One of the other things about the poster when we were designing it was we wanted to be kind of friendly, but also, you know, just reinforcing what people can do, Because again, in this current climate where people are going back out and they're going back shopping and they feel like life is getting back to normal, they're going to forget. You know, I've walked out without my mask and I run back and I get it, and I've forgotten to, you know, bring sanitizer here and there, because you're obviously, people are excited to go shopping again. They're excited to get back to their old lives. I've also been speaking to my sister in Ireland this week, and in Ireland they really opened up this week. They've done a really good job up until now in many regards, but the attitude seems to be that it's over and people just aren't wearing their masks. And I know from being from there, they're not like us here in New York. People in New York really don't mind too much what other people think when it comes to wearing masks and things like that. In Ireland, people are a little bit more, you know, they don't want to seem like they're doing something that's too cool, or people might have some sort of a thing to say about them. So I think that's something that we can do, is just to kind of subtly and in a friendly way, like just, you know, reinforce the simple things that people can do. And that goes a long way, because that's, I believe, how they got us to flatten the curve in the first place.
I think it's the young people that are the ones that don't. I noticed that a lot of my customers, they all wear masks and they even come in with gloves. But I notice it's the younger crowd, you know, in their 20s. My daughter's in Hershey, Pennsylvania. She lives there in Pennsylvania. And I took my wife up this weekend there. And my wife says to her, "You're going out, you're not wearing a mask." She says, "Oh, none of us wear a mask here." And I notice it's that. And if you go to the parks, like I go to the park and I play two-hand touch football there. And this is in the Bronx at Pelham Bay Park. And I noticed that the only one who wasn't wearing a mask for the older players like me and a few other, the young, they feel like they're Superman and it can happen to them. And I think it's because of that. In the beginning, when this first came out, they were said, "Oh, this affects people in their 50s and up." So now they have this thing, "Oh, it's not going to affect me." You know, look at my daughter's attitude. She's 23 years old. She works with physical therapy. You would think she would know better. And then the medical students I'm talking about, they're in their 20s also. So I think it's this false belief that the young are not affected. I hear Governor Cuomo when he speaks, he says, "Well, you may take it to your grandmother and your mother." And a lot of the young people, they don't really live with their grandmothers or mothers. So maybe they feel, "Oh, it ain't going to happen to me." So I think the problem isn't with the whole population. I think it's the younger people. Because in my store, everyone that I've seen, they all wear, I'm telling you, you should see some people are wearing this shield covering their face and everything. So it's the younger generation, I think, that's having a problem with the mask. And if there's some way that government or public officials can let them know, "Hey, listen, this is affecting you too," I think then you'll see that turnaround in mask.
So as I said, I haven't had really problems with masks, although if I see cute masks in the shop, I compliment them. And I'm trying so many different hand sanitizers, so I like to pass on the message of what I like the best. So I say, "This is a great one," so to kind of just get them to use it and then buy their own. I just want to address the idea of what can people do. So obviously, again, I think safety first, safety for them. I think we're kind of like a doctor's office in a way. They have to trust us, so we have to take care. Just like if a doctor is going to pull blood, they're going to use alcohol, they're going to do all of that. So I have to make sure my store is beautifully clean. I have to make sure that when I'm touching anything, I make sure I clean it properly. If I'm helping somebody even put something on, if they really can't. But I'm also encouraging people to try on themselves. I'm really trying to just not go near people. And that's a whole new way of showing things. Most important, I think it's important to support your local stores. So either you come in to shop or call and we do by phone, or tell your neighbor about us, because in the end, health first, but then of course, if you want us all to stay, it is about commerce. So we're here for you, and so we pass that on.
Fantastic. Michael, I'm going to give you the last word since you have that great guide. Do you want to let people know again, just to remind them where they can get it and sort of, how they can use it?
Sure. For now, it's going to be posted, I'm pretty certain, on the CB8 Manhattan website. And that's where we have it posted for now. Of course, the dream would be to figure out if we can somehow distribute it eventually, but that's not my part of the deal, really. I'm just if you go to the Manhattan Community Board 8 website, that's www.cb8m.com, and you'll find it there. And I do believe in the power of social media in terms of sharing. I'm sharing it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and that's always a great start. And again, just so people realize, these guidelines, they're just guidelines, and people will take them or leave them as they will. But like I said earlier, they're very much in the spirit of what we accomplished collectively with flattening the curve. Our business owners have a massive burden. I keep going back to that. A lot of our business owners are reopening after suffering tremendous tragedy. I spoke to a very good friend of mine who owns a restaurant here in the city, who stayed open as much as he could, and one of his chefs caught it and passed away, unfortunately. So it's been a tough time for a lot of people. But if we want to get back to some sense of the life we once had before and bring all the good elements of that and leave some of the not so good elements behind, that's fine by me. And by following these simple guidelines, we can really, help our business owners help us. So thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to have a few words tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
And thank you to Julianne and Vaughn. Your insights are just so well received and just wonderful to hear. And I will be up to purchase some of that wrapped celery. And my girlfriend's birthday is coming up soon, so who knows, I might swing by 81st Street as well.
Hey guys, shop local,
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you something. The other day I was driving by Hackensack, and there's this older little Italian deli, and he had a billboard outside. I said, let me so I read, and it's right. He put, I'm a local owner of a small business. I own one small home. When you shop at my store, you help me take care of a 12-year-old daughter I have and a 17-year-old son who goes and gets piano lessons. When you shop at these other, I won't mention names, you help them get a third home.
Yeah.
And you help them with other things, maybe a BMW and all that. So do shop locally, help your local store, because you know what? He's there for you. And, they need you. And the dry cleaners next to me and these other guys, and my colleague will tell you, we're just little local people, just family people. And that's all we have. That's how we take care of our family. And when you do shop there, you do help your family. And you help even the employees that work there that are family people too.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening to me, and thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Well said, Vaughn. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you, Vaughn. Thank you so much, Julianne. It's all about small business. That's what makes a community. So thank you all. I'm going to hand it back to Alida now for our closing remarks.
Thank you. It's been such a great pleasure to listen to all of you, to hear the real experiences that you have and what you expect, what you look for from customers to help you survive, to help you do more than that, and even to thrive. You give a lot to the community. We've heard about how Vaughn will deliver, that his delivery guys before the crisis would stock your shelves. Yesterday, I went up to see his store because we had talked over a Zoom call, and he was just incredibly lovely. He mentioned to me the story about the Lysol and how he glossed over it tonight, but how he kept it for the elderly because he knew that it would matter more to them. You don't see that kind of service. You heard about Julianne talking about how she gets customers to use sanitizer by talking up the good ones, and how she tries not to touch the customers, being sensitive to them, how excited she is, and very importantly about her optimism. And from Nick, what things were like when he was running the pub, his experiences of his friends. Those are the kinds of stories, those are the kinds of reactions that we see from our local businesses, that as much as it may be valuable to find some weird, quirky food someplace, or a brand of shoes at a discount price. It really matters to our businesses, to our neighborhoods, to our cities, and to be able to shop local. So I want to thank our speakers for Julianne and Vaughn and Michael, who have been invaluable, I think, in showing us the importance of how we work together. It's synergistic, it's cooperative, it's collaborative, some of my favorite words, and it really matters to all of us. So thank you so much for everyone for being here, for sharing with us, and stay tuned. If we do more programs, we'd love to have you. Jessica, as always, you're a treasure. Thank you to everyone for being here. Help our businesses do their business, shop local, and everything that everyone suggested. And use our poster. We worked hard to make it special for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.